Okay, welcome to Orienteering 101. This is about a 30-minute session. We're going to be talking about the basics of orienteering, which is the ultimate scavenger hunt. And I'm going to go through a PowerPoint briefing, and then we're also going to be going through some topographical maps and some compass works if we get that far. I need all you guys to please ask questions. Come on in. Make sure they get signed up. Please ask questions when we go around if you don't get it, because if you don't understand the concepts of orienteering and you actually get out on the course, you'll probably get lost. You will get lost. We have kids get lost every time. I'm Col Peeples. I've been doing orienteering here at Prescott JROTC for 8 years. I wished I had done this as a kid. It is so fun, and so much fun that Prescott has started 2 orienteering meets up here. We have one in the fall, September 28th, which I assume everybody here is going to go play and have fun. And we have one in the spring in April. It works out real well. We have it out at Pioneer Park, which is a city park, right about 4 miles from here. And it's an area of about 2 miles by 3 miles. Although down in the valley in Phoenix, the area for the national forest they run in can be as large as 5 miles by 5 miles. So you can flat get lost, okay, unless you understand the concept here. So please ask questions when we go through here. I have taken this PowerPoint presentation that I've had off the internet, and I truly can't remember where I got it from. It was probably another JROTC instructor that has done this. This is very big in the East. As a matter of fact, the national championships are at West Point Military Institute. The Army really gets into what's called land navigation. That is similar to orienteering, but it's not the same. Orienteering is where you're running and you're having fun, and it's called thinking man sports. If there's a mountain in front of you and you have to go across there to get a point, do you want to go up over the mountain or maybe go around the mountain? So you need to think about that, okay? All right, so I'm going to go over the basics of orienteering. It basically is a huge scavenger hunt. Please raise your hand for questions. It's a competitive form of land navigation. Again, the Army really emphasizes it, and a lot of the training areas that we use out here at Pioneer Park were created by the Army ROTC from Embry-Riddle. So it's neat. We've had a good relationship with them over the years. It's a huge scavenger hunt in the woods. The teams for the junior ROTC competitions here in Arizona are 2-man or 2-girl teams. You can have female team, male team, or co-ed, and they all compete in different categories and win awards. It's a mental challenge. It provides lifetime skills as far as navigation and also physical fitness. And I'm telling you, it's mental skills. When you go out running for an hour one way and you need to come back in 1 hour and come to the beginning point, you have to go through some mental calculations, especially if your buddy turns an ankle. You get cactus in your foot or your leg like you do out here in Arizona. It is a personal character building competition. The basic competition is you leave a point for 2 hours and you come back to that point, the beginning point and entry point are the same one, within 2 hours. And you go out in this area and try to find a control point, which is just like this right here. It's called a control point, and they have different values. Once you get to the point, you prove that you've been there and you get your value and you run to another point. A lot of excitement. A lot of excitement. By the way, our orienteering meet here has as many as 420 cadets out there running. So it's a huge competition, a lot of fun. See a lot of cadets from all over the Southwest. The object is to get to a control point. Like I said, this is exactly the international standard. I can't remember if this briefing talks about it, but all this started in Norway, the Norwegian, Scandinavian countries. But it's basically yellow, orange, and white, and you actually have a identifier punch is what it's called on the bottom. So the goal is to get there. You have your map, and you will find the number of this control point, which is up here on, like this one in particular is Papa, Quebec, PQ. And so you'd look on your map for PQ that you get there, and you take this and you would punch it right here. And for instance, this punch is a V with different holes in it. Maybe an X, maybe a D, maybe a Y. I mean, there are different delineations. And that way you prove that you've gotten there. And because of Papa, Quebec, you will get, 40 points. You also usually have another piece of paper on here because these are left overnight for 1 or 2 nights, depending on how big your competition is. And this says, please don't touch it to hikers or hunters, and contact me for my competition to if they have any questions. You have a start point, you have a bunch of controls, and you have a finish. Again, orienteering is done worldwide, but I'm teaching you junior ROTC Arizona orienteering, okay? You can go online and look at the amateur clubs. There's a big one in Phoenix, there's a big one in LA, and they actually, there's one in Tucson, and they have these competitions once a month or so. Some of them are linear, like you start here and you end up over here. Some of them have different degrees of difficulty. Gosh, some of them are at night, okay? It's pretty cool, with no flashlights allowed. Glow sticks only. Some of them are mountain biking, called bike orienteering. What we call is actually called Score-O. That's our junior ROTC competition. This is a very typical map. It's called a topographical map. Okay. Can anybody tell me what those squiggly lines mean? Yes, sir.
The elevation's gone up 10 feet or something.
Exactly. Well, every little squiggly line is an elevation change. And here, for this particular map, it says 5 meters. How many feet are 5 meters? How many feet is in a meter? 3. So how many meters is 5 meters? How many feet are 5 meters? 15 feet. Right up here, top of our roof up here. That's the difference in 2 of these lines is about 15 feet. So the big picture in learning about topographical maps, which you guys will see all your life, this is a life lesson, is that when you have these lines spread out, that means it's kind of a flat area. Okay? If you had a topographical map of Prescott High School, over here where the flagpole is, this area, the elevation change is not much. It's not 15 feet. Okay? So these would be very flat areas. Likewise, if you have a topographical map with lines real tight, real close together, such as down here on the bottom, then that means it's going to be very steep. And I'm talking cliffs, okay? I mean, Thumb Butte. If you look at topographical map, it's going to be just boom, 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 because in a small area, there's a huge elevation change. Here in Prescott, for Pioneer Park, it's kind of a beginning competition. That's why everybody loves to come here in September, because you have all the new people. You go out there and have a great time. Not many people can get lost, although we've had a couple. But there's no cliffs to fall over. Down in Phoenix, when we have the state championship, we're in severe deserts, and you can have cliffs and hills to fall over. A smart person does not go over a cliff, okay, to get to a control point. Although, like I tell a lot of my students, is that I think it was my 3rd year here, so about 5 years ago, we had some brand new, how many people are first-year cadets? We had a pair of first-year cadets competing down in Phoenix, and they sat there and watched another team go over a cliff to try to get down to a control point, and guess what? Gee, one of them fell and did not break his leg, but severely injured it and couldn't get out. And they're 2 miles from the control point. And so guess what the team's member, his buddy, did? Left him, okay? And so my first-year cadets knocked off the competition and went and rescued strangers and then brought them out. And of course, that was one of the 2 times in my 1,000 cadets that I've taught that I promoted them immediately. I got them immediate promotion and gave them compliments, and they made A's in my class. That was a character decision. You say they saved a guy, seriously, and the other guy got deserted. By the way, when you're as a team, for our competitions, you're never supposed to be more than 15 feet away from their team member. You're not supposed to separate and go look for all the points. You be together as a team. Okay. Any questions about the big picture of topographical maps? The difference between a topographical map and a road map is the fact that you have these wiggly lines, and that's how steep everything is. If they're far apart, what does that mean? Flat. If they're tight, if these lines are tight together, what does that mean? Cliffs, or not cliffs, but very steep, okay? Very steep. Okay, we've been over this. This is the flag and the control point. You actually have a punch like I said, that goes over. It's very distinctive. By the way, this stuff costs money. I mean, I have to order the stuff from, I think I order the punches from Europe or somewhere, or Ohio or something, and we put it together. We want you guys to volunteer. It takes a lot of hassle for us to throw this, these 2 meets in September and April, and so I will let you guys volunteer and help set this stuff up. I will not let, we have to go out on Friday and actually put these control points in the trees or wherever we're having it. So you can't compete and actually go stick out the points, because then you'll know where the points are. But we need your help. You actually get a map, okay, a topographical map. On the back side, you get a number with all the points, just like this. And you'll have a description of the control feature is what it is. Such as, is it in a stream? Is it on top of a hill? Is it next to a fence? Is it in a trail, maybe that has a Y? These are the descriptions of the points that help you identify them when you're out there running around, okay? This type of presentation here is not what we do, although a smart person might do it. I will give you a map and has all these points. And so do you really want to go here, 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 here? The game is getting with your partner and deciding, how do you feel today? Do you really want to run out 1 hour and turn around and run back 1 hour? Or do you want to do it in a circle so that you hit maybe some of the easy points first, get your confidence up, get your orientation going, and then maybe by the time you get to point 3 or 4, do you really want to go all the way out here to 6? Well, 6, if it's farther away, is going to have a lot more value, okay? But maybe you're sick. Maybe your partner doesn't feel good. He's queasy. So maybe you want to stay near the beginning and get 5 or 6 easy ones that have less value, but you get 5 or 6 of them. Versus spending an hour going out here at point 6 to get 70 points, yay, but you only get 1 or 2 points. So it's a psychological thing. It's a mind game to play this competition. It's not like basketball where you got to get it in the one hoop for the 2 or 3 points, that's it. This is, do you feel good to actually go across here? Do you really know where you are at point 4 so that you can really get to point 6? A circle is what the good competition, the good teams do, is generally a circle. Okay, but you got to then keeping track of your watch and your time to get back to the beginning exactly 2 hours after you start. For instance, it's 10:26 right now. If you run off at 10:26, when do you need to be exactly back at the beginning? 12:26. I mean in 00 seconds. We'll have those clocks I use in my office and my other classroom. They're to the second. Okay, so you have to have a watch. You cannot use your cell phone. You cannot use electronic devices because you may cheat. No offense. You wouldn't, of course. My cadets wouldn't. But other people may cheat, may text, hey, the point's down in the Arroyo or down in the valley. But you have to have some kind of watch to the second to know when you're coming back. Like I said, it's a thinking man's sport. Here it is, yeah. It originated in Scandinavia in the 19th century, 1800s. It's part of a military training to be able to navigate. Oh, by the way, they have huge, fjords and mountains and all that go over. We talked about the topographical map. It shows you the different streams and all, fields. And we talk about the marginal information, what's the difference in the lines so you can know whether you go up or down. The scale is how big the topographical map is and what's the difference in the actual lines. The example we had was 15 meters or 5 meters or 15 feet. Here are the contours, and the contours mean different things. If you have a straight contour, if it's straight, then that means that's a gentle decrease or increase in elevation. But if the contour lines are pointed or angled like a V, what does that mean? What does that mean? If you have a contour line that has a lot of V's in a row, like right in here.
It's more cliffy.
No, it's a valley, okay? Because, you know, if you're looking down on it from God's eye view straight down and you see these V's, it sort of means a valley or a stream. And that's kind of how, that's an indication of that. And you'll see that out there on the competitions. Okay, we talked about the control marker. This is exactly what it is. We have about 25 or 26 out there for you. The people who win get somewhere between 15 and 20. No one ever gets them all. There's no reason to. We talked about the contour interval is the 15 feet or 5 meters. And let's see. We basically run a cross-country presentation. It's called a Score O. And that is what we run here at Prescott for our orienteering meet, the 28th of September, and I think it's the 5th of August, 2014. But generally, you want to get with your partner, your teammate. You'll be given these about 5 to 10 minutes before you leave. So if you're leaving at 10:35, you get this around 10:30, and you want to get with them and make sure you know where you're starting. Look over here. Okay, that hill is this right here. They have power lines on these presentations. You have trails. You have off-limit areas such as, you know, where public or in Phoenix maybe some of the hunting areas are off limits for obvious reasons. And so you want to make sure you get oriented, and then you come up with a plan. Do I do it in a circle? Do I really want to go for the high, long distance place? That's how it works out. A handrail, they call a handrail is things that keep you in line, such as a power line. Hey, if a huge power line's going over here, there it is. Well, I certainly can orient it and stay in my lane because of that. Or it may be a road. In Pioneer Park, I don't know how many people have actually been out there and biked or walked or whatever. They have two sides of Pioneer Park. One is on the south side of the 4-lane highway, and the one is on the north side. The north side gets very wild. It's like a series of canyons, of valleys and hills. And they can get very rough and very wild. And you can get sort of disoriented which valley or which hill you're in. There's three tunnels that go under the 4-lane Pioneer Park. Do you think I will let you go across the road? You need to go through the tunnels for safety. And so that's basically a handrail. That keeps you just set in for the competition. A knoll is basically looks like a circle on the topographical map because that's the top of a hill. A leg is the distance between it. You'll have a legend on your topographical map that'll tell you what you're actually seeing and how you're working on those. Here is something that is controversial, especially in our high school situation. It's called pace counting or pacing. You'll have the different points, and you can sit there and measure how far it is from point to point, say 1,000 feet. You know, you'll have a scale, and you can really do it with your finger. You okay, 1,000 feet, or you do it with your compass. But then how do you find out where 1,000 feet is? How do you know how 1,000 feet is? How would you estimate that?
Size of your steps.
Theoretically, it's the size of your step, or if you're equal to running, but you're going up and down. You're going up and down. You're fighting your way through brush. You're not on the trails. You're going cross country. So you can count your steps. A lot of the cadets do that, but then a lot of the cadets are running. And especially in a beginner course like Pioneer Park, you'll be able to see the trails and see the mountains, and you sort of go that way and look for it. So this is a little more advanced. This is what you might be doing down in Phoenix, actually. Phoenix, you go through subsequent valleys and mountains and hills, and you sort of count them. Okay, that's 2 or 3, 4. Okay, safety, bearing, and whistle. You're required to have water. Each person have water. You're required to have a whistle for the team for emergencies. And you're required to know how to get out of the area. In Pioneer Park, everything is to the west of the road, so your safety bearing would be east, 090, to get back to safety. Okay, and I'll show you that here on the charts. This is our competition, the Scoro. 2 hours, starting position, going out and having fun, and coming back. If you come back in 2 hours and 1 minute, or 1 second, excuse me, then you lose points. And it's as if you didn't never find this thing. They take away the points. If you come back in 1 hour and 59 minutes, you're good. You just do not bust the 2-hour point. That generally means you get lost. Okay, and these happen. I mean, you have 400 kids out there, 200 teams. You know, 1%, 10% will get lost. Okay. The bottom line is you try to find as many control points as you can. The harder ones get greater value, and you come back in 2 hours. Okay. Alrighty, that pretty much covers what we'll go over. Again, in the competitions, there are different levels of how hard this all is. What I'd like to do now is show you some of the actual. Why don't you hand these out, please? Okay. So everybody can just at least have a chance to look at this stuff. Did we get any? Did we get any compasses?
You guys can share that. Yes, sir.
Okay. How about give a compass out too? We have about 10 minutes. Right. This goes to what time? When does this go to? 42.
Yes, sir. We have 7 minutes.
We have 7 minutes. Okay. Well, we're gonna tell you what. I tell you, don't give out the compasses right now. We'll do that next time. Everybody, hold up your piece of paper. Okay. And now, which way is north? On the piece of paper. Look at the legend. See down here on the bottom right, it says a legend, and it has north. Okay, that is how it is. So north is straight up. Okay, does everybody see over here on the right? There is a triangle right near point 11. What does the triangle mean? Starting point and finishing point. Okay, starting point and finishing point. I guess I could put this up here on this. What about, just a second. What about, what is the difference in the actual elevation? What is your contour lines? What is your contour lines? What's the difference in elevation, guys? Look at the bottom of the legend. What does it say? What does the bottom of the legend say?
20 feet.
20 feet. That's it. This is not hard, okay? So it's 20 feet. So each one of those lines, the difference is 20 feet. So what about, and I have a different map, I think, than you. What about the lines right above the legend? Is this steep or is this kind of flat?
I think it's kind of flat.
Kind of flat, okay? What about when we go up into, again, a more steeper area? You see how tight this is? This is steep. This is coming up to Pioneer Park. You guys been out there. That's the way it is. What is this big, huge line here that goes across? Power line, right? And of course in Arizona, if you think about power lines, underneath the power lines are usually trails, okay? You have a trail that comes underneath the power line, okay? This is how you orient yourself. What are these big X's here on this crazy line here mean? What are the big X's?
Tunnels.
Those are the tunnels that you must use on our particular course. There's nothing like this in Phoenix. In Phoenix, the competitions are out in the wild, such as Bomb Boy Mine, and it's quite different. Matter of fact, I even actually have a picture. So this is a picture of our competition. Let me show you another one here. Here's a competition. This is an example of a competition in Phoenix. Okay. Okay. There's not many roads out there, are they? Okay. Does anybody see the? Let's see. What do all these lines right here mean? We're talking cliffs, okay? That's a cliff. That's where a wash or a river runs through two huge mountains there, okay? We actually start on the competition right here. This is the parking lot, so the triangle will be here, but they put the points out in this area, okay? You can see without many roads, without many orientation that you can get disoriented. What about these lines here being tied together? What does that mean? That's a cliff going up to the top of a mountain. When you have circles, remember the circles are the tops of the mountain, the knolls. Okay? And that's how it works. In this particular environment, I can't remember if this is Bomb Boy. I can't remember which. Oh, this is First Water. Okay? First Water, then basically everybody runs to the left, which is the west, and the safety heading is back to the east, because this road here is the main part. Okay? Here's another example of some of the competitions in Phoenix. This is called Bomb Boy. There's actually a mine down here. Bomb Boy Mine. Let's see here. Yeah. So, in this type of situation, these big, huge lines or power lines, they actually run out from the parking area and they go out into the competition area. Again, you're not going to be run over by any cars or anything. There's no lines out there. Each competition place we have has different threats. Out here at Pioneer Park, you're worried about the brush, right? You need to wear long pants like this and probably a long sleeve. You'll actually wear a high visibility vest because we want to be able to find you if you have any problem. But out here in the valley, what kind of vegetation is down the valley that might cause you problems?
Cactus.
Huge cactuses that we don't understand up here in 6,000 feet of elevation. But they have prickly pear, cholla, jumping cholla, chain cholla is what they call, and it'll go right through your boots, your feet. And so we need to be careful with that. And every year we have kids that get in it and love doing that. But anyway, so these are some of the examples we have in it. We have about 4 minutes left. Any questions so far? Any questions? I know I've overloaded you real quickly. Any questions? Okay, well, this will conclude our Orienteering 101. And we will continue the next time with actually some compass work.